Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Minds on Mushrooms. I'm your host, Maggie Kirkwood. I'm a certified psychedelic practitioner and forever curious explorer of consciousness. Thank you so much for tuning in today, guys. Today, I'm joined by the incredibly talented Eber Rodriguez. He's a multi-instrumentalist, a sound healer, and a ceremonial facilitator based in Costa Rica. I had the privilege of working alongside him back in February during my psychedelic practitioner training program, where he served as the musical program director for our ceremonies. Deep in the jungle, all of the elements, including sound, were interwoven to create an experience that had the most profound impact on my own journey. His live soundscapes are pure magic, and in just a minute, you're going to get to feel him for yourself. This is Eber Rodriguez. Hello, Eber. How are you? Thank you so much for joining today.
Hi, Maggie. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm very grateful to be here and getting to connect with you and with the people that will watch this and hear it. Yeah.
Thank you. And you are tuning in from Costa Rica, correct?
That's right. I'm here in Costa Rica, where I'm from. I live in the Pacific coast. It's a beautiful day today.
Beautiful. Well, I like to get right into things, and I was wondering if you could just take a moment just to share a little bit about your journey into working with music and ceremony.
Yeah, well, it's been a big journey. So I'll just pinpoint some of the details that I think are important. I used to be a regular musician, I say. And then I always did psychedelics since I was about 18. Had my first LSD experience. I think I was 18, 19. And that was it just literally opened the sky, very, very literally. And I was speechless. Right? So then I kept on in connection with mushrooms because they grow here naturally. And LSD is, it's a bit more difficult to get in Costa Rica unless you have good connections and you have to pay for it. But mushrooms, they just grow in nature. So every time the rains will come, I knew the time, I knew where to go. I'll find them. And
wow.
So the first time I would say, I was looking for them, but they also found me, and we got to meet each other in nature and start that communion with the mushrooms. And then this, energies. I was just fascinated by the visuals first and really looking for seeing what was possible. And then, of course, healing started happening, and I had no idea that was a healing tool. I read a little bit about it, of course, what is in the history books of Maria Sabina and all that, situation. So I knew there was a healing potential, but I was experiencing it, and I was like, oh, wow, this is absolutely powerful. It opened up my heart to love and experience new layers of connection with my family, especially. With myself and with my animals. Like I was like taking care of this beautiful kitty, and I was a mushrooms, and I was like the most beautiful being I've ever seen in my life. I had this very special moment with animals, with cats, with dogs, that and with cows, because it's in the cow field where the mushroom grows to. So, this deep connection of presence and appreciation and love and gratitude. And, of course, it opened up this creative desire of expressing some things and navigating through this life, as a mystical experience. I was also using music as a tool to connect.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was just later on in my journey when I started tapping into more of a wellness, a holistic approach or a therapeutic approach of sound.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started looking at a certain intersection, I was introduced to sound healing by a friend. She is this beautiful older woman. She owns a beautiful place in Montezuma, and she has all these wonderful instruments. The gongs and the crystal bowls and the harps and all the toys. And I had no idea what was that about. I was just a normal musician playing in a band. And it's also worth mentioning that I used to study chemistry at the National University in Costa Rica.
Yes, that's
so,
right.
This is a lot of where my thought process around, perception and consciousness and, what is going on in the brain and the biochemistry of this reality, how do we perceive it? It was a lot of the questions that open up the path of exploration with psychedelics.
Mm-hmm.
But then the music and the sound, it appeared from that path of my heart where I wanted to do and take time to myself to just play music.
I see.
And that's when I found this woman who showed me sound healing, sound journey, sound bath. And I started meditating there. With her sounds and supporting, also playing didgeridoo and then playing some other little instruments over there. And I started feeling that slow but profound transformation with sound that opened up my perspective to see that it's not just a song, it's not just a show, it's not just a performance, but there is something about sound that, I'm thinking about the ancient times when there was no audience, right? Music was a collaborative, co-created experience, and it wasn't just for the sake of entertainment, but also ritual and prayer and this, happening of nature. Nature is singing all the time, especially in the morning and the evening. So I started reconnecting back to this ancestral way, I would say, in a modern way. That is right, the holistic approach of sound, and at some point, of course, experiencing that with mushrooms and LSD, and I saw the potential. I felt it. I felt there was a deep impact, just sound as a therapy for deep regulation of the nervous system. Breathing and listening, and just there's this trance state of calm and peace and feeling good and accessing also a different state of perception, what is being known as alpha brainwave state. It's like meditation like pattern of brain waves that occurs when meditating with sound. Very effortless state to access. And this gets amplified with mushrooms or LSD or ayahuasca or other psychedelics. So, and at that time, I was also being called by dreams. And after several journeys myself in connection with spirits, with the mushrooms and LSD, then I started being called in my dreams by ayahuasca. Receiving dreams about drinking this cup that was like somebody was giving me, and I was like by a fire, and there was like this ceremonial circle happening, which it wasn't part of my journeys. I was just, enjoying psychedelics in whatever way they will happen with a degree of respect, because, I felt the intensity and the potency of what can happen. Right? But I didn't have a very clear foundation of safety, of not only physical safety, but more layers of safety, psychological, spiritual, all this support system. And I was blessed because of that series of dreams I had. There was this deep desire of connecting with ayahuasca. So I reached out to some people, and they connected me to some people that were coming from Colombia to serve something called yahe, which is like an ayahuasca brew. It's very, very similar. Many people say it's the same. Many people say it's not the same, because every brew, every concoction of these plants is absolutely unique. And the way that they prepare it, the way that they serve it, it's also very different, and at the same time very similar. So I was like, yes, this is it. I'm gonna try it out. I was so scared. Something in me was trembling days before. I was just like, I knew there was something strong going to happen. And by that time I had potent psychedelic journeys, tried changa, DMT, spoken with some entities and traveled through, realms. So I was like, oh my God, this ayahuasca is going to be this, but like 7 hours, I was like, I was like, oh my God.
Wow.
that feels like a lot. So, these ideas that I had, and also hearing people's experiences about fear and difficulties with the journey. And so, I was kind of like, I want to do it, but I still was feeling this thing inside of me that was, I don't know, how it is going to go. Right. So I arrived to this place. I get received by someone I call my brother, a spiritual brother of a path. And he looks at me, gives me this smile. And immediately all my fear and all my apprehension, all this doubt, anything just like dissipated.
Wow.
And I felt at home. First steps in the place. And I'm just like immediately settle into this ease and trust. So I had my first journey. My first journey with ayahuasca was so soft.
Oh, wow.
And subtle, and just like it was so soft that I was very disappointed.
Oh, did you want to be like purging? And
no, I mean I purged.
Oh, okay.
Right,
but it just
it wasn't as deep as I've gone through. Like I was expecting some like hours of just navigating through different planes of consciousness and having profound, deep realizations of myself and my life, and
I see.
And more difficulty and more intensity, right? Which this is a message that I just recently integrated. I think like less than 2 years ago.
Okay.
About 2 years ago, I started integrating my first ayahuasca experience.
Oh wow! Okay.
So this is interesting because I like to share with people that integration doesn't only happen in the first 2 weeks or 4.
Thank you.
Right? There is like aspects that can be integrated for sure in the first couple of weeks or 4 or first couple months, and there is layers of understanding that can only come to be seen clearly with when we're ready, when the time comes.
Yes.
And this is what I felt. It was the medicine telling me things don't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be this, more and like deeper and like,
right.
This desire of like looking for more visuals and like more, it was the medicine just slowing me down. And like, let's meet first. Okay. So it's like, meeting a person, we don't go like right straight into the depths of our past traumas and like, how we've been brought up into the world and, what we're looking for life and all this like really profound conversations. So I was like, no, let's just sit together and just feel each other and then just ease into it, Let's create some trust first. Okay. So this was the message that was coming to me. That now is clear, but it wasn't at that point. I was disappointed. I was like, is this it? Yeah. This is the big ayahuasca experience. But I don't know. I've kept my desire of connecting with it, because there was something certainly mystical about it showing up in my dreams, even on that like journey that was very soft. There was still a process happening in my dreams. There was still this sense of connection, sense of being taught something.
Okay.
Not only here in the physical world, but my dreamland and other felt ways. So I always kept this process. And so my second journey and my third journey, then the medicine showed me.
Oh, okay.
Like, okay, yeah, you were looking for this. That was no. We have to trust first.
I love how you say that. Oh, and I don't mean to interrupt, but I think that is such a crucial, important piece is, trusting the medicine and ultimately trusting yourself and the process. But yeah, it's so interesting that when we're sitting with medicine, we have certain expectations, right? Or we can. And I think the number one lesson is always expect nothing because we don't know what we'll receive. But it sounds like as you continue to sit with ayahuasca, it was more of a revealing ceremony, or second and third, compared to this first softer one.
Yes, I've experienced, some profound openings and witnessed the depth and the potency, and also in a way to have respect, because I felt that there was like this beautiful desire, and I have this beautiful desire of always like, what is there, what is behind this idea of myself, what is behind this unfolding of experience that is happening every breath. So this mystic experience, this unexplainable something, so I felt there was an opportunity there, and there's certainly something that is not just healing, right? There's the layers that are healing, that are bringing harmony, bringing coherence of the mind, of the body, of the heart, of the spirit. And there's more. There's something else too, which I've been very interested on.
Okay.
So, right now the hot topic on psychedelics is psychedelic healing. It's seen as a therapy device, that helps us to support anxiety, PTSD, depression, all these different,
diagnoses. And research shows too.
Yeah, and this is very important, right? Research has been wired towards this because this is the way that this can expand and move, because it does help people to heal, to profoundly heal, not just to cover the surface of symptoms.
Correct.
And at the same time, it is working on that, on the body, on the mind, on the emotions, and on the spirit. So this spiritual part is the part that many people have talked about. It's not the focus of science. It's kind of coming in there, right? There is now research about DMT and all these entities that everybody's looking at, and these feelings and these dimensional planes, and so we're starting to talk more openly about these spiritual planes, which I am honestly is like the most interesting thing for me. Witness a little bit of this understanding that people have been working with thousands of years. Psychedelics are not new. They might be new for me and my lineage of my family. Perhaps I'm one of the first ones to connect with these medicines, or to reconnect. Perhaps, some ancestors long ago did a little of that. But in these new ways, we have an access that none of them perhaps have had.
Hi, friends. I just wanted to take a quick pause and share with you something I've been so excited to share. I'm now officially a certified psychedelic practitioner. As you know, this work truly lights me up. I love meeting people no matter where they are in their journey, whether they're just curious about plant medicine and microdosing or looking to take a deeper dive. All of my offerings can be experienced in person or virtually, so we can work together no matter where you live. I'm currently offering 3 programs. The first is Bloom, which is a guided microdosing journey. This program is meant to spark clarity, creativity, and emotional balance. Awaken is a program for those looking to do a deeper dive with the medicine. I offer a ceremonial breakthrough experience designed to open new perspectives and shift what's possible in your life. And with Rebirth, my most immersive journey, it combines a ceremonial breakthrough experience followed by ongoing microdosing integration, so your transformation takes root and really starts to grow. Every single journey is held with deep intention, safety, and care. If something in you feels called, trust that feeling. Head on over to mindsonmushrooms.com/work with me to view my offerings and learn more. Thank you. Absolutely. Yeah, I feel that when I'm speaking about integration, I mean, first of all, it really is a never-ending concept. But yeah, we do have a lot of care and concern when we're sitting with medicine for those that are struggling or, kind of going through it. But then at the other end, the polarity is receiving this light or these gifts that come through. These knowings or sensations that need to be integrated as well, because they're as easily able to be shoved aside. Did that really happen? Did I really feel that? Did I see that? Did I connect with my ancestors? And I just love any conversation around celebrating. I call them gifts that we receive. And I wanted to share my experience in Costa Rica was just, I was someone who I have not sat with ayahuasca, but I have been working with psilocybin intentionally for about 4 years now. But I was so used to just taking some mushrooms and jumping into my bed and throwing my earbuds in. And it was my first experience in ceremony. Not to mention, I think we had close to 40 people, but with all of the elements present, the jungle, the ocean, the full moon, the live musical artists such as yourself. And I would say just delivered such a higher level experience with when I'm talking specifically about the sound. I do like to say having so many people there, it took me a while to drop in to my medicine, my experience. But once I did, it was just this connecting with your voice and your instruments and the frequency. And I wanted to ask, what is there any way that you can kind of talk to what exactly is happening when we're with medicine? It almost to me feels like the sound, the frequency, are moving through me, and like fine tuning my brain circuits, or I know my nervous system is getting some sort of relief. Is there anything that you can, or maybe I'm making that part up, but it just feels like, and I feel that some people also are moving with the sound. So we kind of get these unexpected kind of somatic releases maybe through frequency. I would just love to hear how you speak to what exactly is going on when we're with medicine. Maybe.
So yeah, I love this because this of course my passion. This is I like to say is the path of my heart, is where I love to do what I'm doing, and it comes with love. It comes with that energy, is shared with love, is received with love. So that itself, is a whole thing to think about. And so when I had my first ayahuasca experience, or yahe experience, there was something that just left me in awe. Like it just made my mouth drop, and I was like, I want to eat it. Like I want to just like receive it. Like it's like this. So this friend of mine, Carlos, he started doing what is called an Icaro.
Okay.
Right. And I've also heard later on Taita, Jose Antonio, also doing Icaro. And I was just like, oh my God, what is happening? the sound, the way that I was perceiving that sound, the way that I was like feeling in my body, it was doing something that I haven't felt before. I mean, I felt very magical things with music all my life, but that was just something else. A sound I've never heard before. So this ancestral like energy into it, this like multi-layered rhythm, kind of like code of, I don't know how to describe it, but the geometrical structure of this sound, it was just built on like such a architectural beauty, right? And so this experience I had, I was like, oh wow, okay, there's something very special about sound. Then my second ceremony with ayahuasca, with yahe, then it was much deeper than my first one. That was super light, and in that depth, in that profound state, it was the sound that helped me. There was also the sound coming through me. There was sound coming through me and being activated, emanating like water just flowing through the earth from deep the earth. But then there was like this soft stream of sound with such a beauty in it, that it helped to serenade my spirit. And I remember that moment, I recognized, and it was a moment of respect. It was a moment of appreciation and gratitude for the knowledge of these people that have been working in the ceremonial ways.
Okay.
Because I got to experience by my nervous system, in my mind, in my vision, what the sound was doing and how it was shifting what was happening to myself. It was alleviating my mind.
And what can I ask? Was this particular sound an instrument, or
it was the voice? And there was some harmonica in it.
Okay.
Yeah. And it became an orchestra. I was
right.
I have like auditory vision.
I remember, asking you. I think after the first ceremony in Costa Rica, I thought that there was only one or two voices contributing, but there was three, because you get so a little disassociated with where the sound is coming from. But I love this idea also, when I'm in meditation with or without medicine, a way for me to try and clear my mind and of everything is to hear sound and try and kind of surrender to it. So I felt in ceremony in Costa Rica, when I was having a hard time kind of like dropping into the medicine, it was just really focusing on sound and kind of like trying to meld with it. And that's what I'm talking about when I'm feeling it moving, and it's also providing answers and insights that I can't necessarily put into words, but just these feelings or knowings that I know something I didn't entering this this ceremony. I was going to ask also, what are your thoughts when we're with medicine and, we can listen to instrumental music. And then when we add ceremony songs that, involve lyrics, I think that sometimes people want to hear songs with nostalgia or that, give them a warm, heartfelt feeling. But also my perception is sometimes lyrics can kind of shift how we're perceiving our journey. Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Agree? Right. There is an influence of words. And this is the interesting part. Right now there's a lot of experimenting with music and creating playlists, I would say, premeditated for a journey, where what I have experienced on the ceremonial spaces that I've been with live music, in the spaces that I host and I help to co-create too with other people, we are making music live, and we don't have a playlist. We don't
Oh.
have an idea of, okay, this is where I go, this is where you go, this is how we're going to play, this is what we're going to play. It's something that is felt in the moment.
Ooh, just got
because what happens is that according to what is happening on the collective, and in group ceremonies, there is a collective experience happening, not just an individual. And I think that is something very special and beautiful. And my favorite containers are group containers, and small groups or medium-sized groups. And it's my favorite because there's an opportunity to reflect upon that collective, experience that we are co-creating. So we put an input into this, but we also can receive so much from it. And this group feeling, then I get to experience it, and it comes so natural. It's like, okay, the next song is this one. It just comes when the song ends. I know the next song.
Wow.
And if there's no next song in my mind, there is silence. And then if I'm playing with somebody else, we just have this same unspoken agreement, I would say, that is like, okay, there is silence, and then somebody receives what is next.
Wow.
Right. So there is no like, what do we do now? Do you play? Do I play? There's no questioning. There is just following.
Wow.
And I think this, because I get it reflected so many times, right? I've held, I don't know, I hold like space for like hundreds of people at the year. And this happens all the time, where people say, you played that song, it couldn't be more perfect. It was the perfect time for this type of feeling. So, and this is very important for me because I cannot take credit. My ego could say, yes, I'm the musician. Oh yes, I received this is of my knowledge. It's like, I am the one who's bringing you this vibration. That, I mean, that's, to me, is just absurd.
It's so true, though. I mean, first of all, I wasn't aware. I thought that you guys kind of, planned out the timing of the journey, but to hear that it's, I guess, more or less channeled in some ways, right? Or what you're receiving from the group. That's, it was giving me chills when you were talking about that, because so many times the exact song would speak to, it was just what I needed to hear. So that is truly magical.
For me, this is very special because you see, this is what I'm talking before. We're doing healing work, but there's a spiritual component in this. And this is where the spirit of the medicine, the spirit of the mushrooms, the spirit of ayahuasca, there's a natural spirit, there's a guidance. For me, this is a tremendous beauty. It's divine. It's really special. And this is why I consider absurd to take credit out of it, because it will be, I think, a lack of respect and also a lack of understanding if I would take credit out of it. Because these songs, they have been like gifts, and they have been like a collection. I've collected certain knowledge, certain energies of harmony and all this. And at the same time, there's this intuitive knowing that speaks and says, okay, this is the next song, and when that is followed, it's like that song is going to be perfect.
Oh, it's so beautiful. I just remember, telling you, I think on the daily, that the music is everything, because that's how I truly felt. I mean, I think that was the one component that brought me most insight from my experience there. Let's talk a little bit about, do you have any, if you're working or doing kind of a group ceremony and you sense that the room might need some grounding, let's say, rather than silence, like, can you kind of talk about maybe some instruments and how when you're being channeled, or I would just like to hear the array of instruments that you're working with, if you don't mind sharing.
Well, I love instruments. I love music. Every time every year I'm just collecting more and more instruments and more songs also. And I think beyond the amount of instruments that somebody can play or bring into the space, there is something about the quality of how the sound is created that is way more important than the instrument that is playing.
Okay.
So it's like this intention, and more than just intention once as a thing that happens set on a time, is the intentionality, which is a way of relating, an experience that is being created from this source of wanting to help, wanting to support. And this is where I think the special quality of the therapy happens. Is that it comes from caring, it comes from love. And even when it's something that, when it's a sound or a song that is triggering uncomfortable feelings, like grief, which is very uncomfortable for a lot of people, right? When grief is like unprocessed and so, and there are songs that they have quality that they bring that up, right? So, but I would say my favorite instrument is the voice.
Good one.
It's very simple. Everybody plays it. Even if you think you're not a musician, everybody plays the voice. We all are speaking at the time. We all, it's the first thing we hear. It's like our mother's voice inside. And it's some of the first things we do when we come out to the world is, scream out loud. Right? And this instrument is helping us to not just express our minds, where we seem to be a little overfocused, but to also create a vibrational harmony on the tone that we are using. So this is where I'm talking about the intentionality of sound. Is even when it's spoken, it's coming from somewhere over here. Because if when you speak, it's interesting to try it out. You feel, where's your sound coming from? The sound is not coming up from here. It's coming up down from here. It's like it feels kind of the resonance of it is down here. And it's also breath.
Oh, yes.
So this is the most interesting part of the voice on a psychedelic journey, right? The psychedelic is magnifying as an amplifier of what is happening. And when the voice is used in this intentional way for singing, and so there's also in the background, I would say it's not in the front of our awareness, there's breathing. So this is the focus of my work, and not because it's like this is mine or this is my idea. It's like, this is what I felt. It really helps, and it's very simple. And there's science supporting it, and this is what most of people are working with, no matter how we frame it, is breath and sound. And this is the science of, and the foundation of this therapeutic experience with psychedelics. And instruments, I love so many different instruments, and like the didgeridoo, has this deep, ancient growl sound, right? It's like very earthy. And the gong, when the gongs are played, they have these multiple voices. It's very cosmic. It's like from like out there. It's like this channel voices of kind of what the universe would sound like.
Right.
And the different instruments, they have different qualities, right? The harmonicas are just so airy, and like the vocal quality of them just adds this very organic modulation that in psychedelics is trippy.
Do I remember you had a jaw harp too?
Yes, the jaw harp. Those are also very, very trippy, right? The sound is like, what is going on?
And then don't you also, I'm not going to know the terminology, but you kind of change your voice to sound, I don't know, intergalactic, or what is the term? What do we call it? Yeah, it was just really great. Do you do any, I know you had stated that when you're performing or doing music for ceremony, it's really kind of on the moment, on the spot, what you're feeling, what you're receiving. But in terms of like yourself and your personal journeys with medicine, do you have any understanding? Like, I believe with when we're sitting with psilocybin, when we hit around like the 2 hour, 2.5 hours, we're kind of at the peak point of our experience. Have you explored kind of playing around with maybe more dramatic themed songs? Starting out slow, easing into the medicine, but then kind of reaching a climax point, I guess, of the journey. Have you done any work? Or
Yeah, absolutely. No, every time it's just definitely something that naturally I realized that the first part of experience is there's usually like some anxiety, some feelings of discomfort that start showing up, and I've noticed that climb up, it feels like soft music is very nice to breathe and to relax, and like very ethereal, soft, no words, that type of music that is just like allowing to settle into it. But once we're in it, once the medicine is present, then I think there is a room for that work. And I've noticed this work because of the ceremonial spaces that I have been tending to. I've been like receiving ceremony of myself consistently, because this is how I improve myself. This is how I also learn and get more inspired. And I've noticed that during those peak moments, the sound and some songs that contain words or contain a specific sequence of notes, chords, the harmony of them, are meant to, yes, be more dramatic in some way, like bring that like contrast and tension to like help emotions surface up. I think this is so important and then so therapeutic. I like to think about we human beings, because of society, because of school, because of work, because of the way that we're raised, and as persons, we've been told, it's like an unspoken agreement that you just have to keep it in your bag, just save it for later. And then everybody has a luggage, everybody's carrying something. And sometimes we think, oh yeah, I worked through it. Like it's over. Like I've worked with it. I'm done.
It's done.
Right. But then on the psychedelic journey, when it's breakthrough points where the music becomes intense and it helps us to tap by resonance to some of these emotional states, then I think there are categories of emotion with categories of sound, of harmony. And when certain harmony is like, I like to think about it like a spell.
Okay.
So it's like, okay, we put in a spell of certain emotion. So we help each other through this sound to cast these emotions, to evoke the feeling. And when these feelings are evoked, it's like the box opens up. There's an opportunity to release that. When it's grief, when it's sadness, when it's loss, when it's anger, frustration, there's resentment, all these things that are sometimes difficult to process, that tend to linger, in there. It's like sound helps to prepare the ground, to ease it, to relax. And then once the terrain is soft and calm, then there is a pulling of this, things that need to come out. And that's where I think it is important to have not just any like random dramatic sound, but there is a quality with it. This is where I say live music has something, because somebody is doing it in the moment, hopefully with the intention of helping through these sounds when they are bring into present, to bring those things up to surface so people can release. And then after a release process, it's like a wound, like if you have a cut and it's sore, it's tender, then it needs some cream. It needs some, caressing,
Ointment.
right? Yes, the ointment. So I think, that's when the sound at the end of ceremony just like comes into this like vibrant, joyful, happy energy, right? There, like the softness and like this, like, angelic tickling sparks of sound come in, right? That is like, okay, everything's fine. You've made the work.
Right. It's especially helpful too, I think, in ceremony, kind of when the songs lighten up and we're playing more nostalgic songs that we might all know, to hear the voices kind of, because people started to sing, and it helps you kind of feel definitely grounded and like you're back on on earth. But I want to go back to what you were saying about creating music in certain times of the medicine journey to kind of pull or evoke emotion. I think through that's something that was a big kind of awakening to me with working with the medicine. If I'm sitting with it and I'm not feeling dropped in or necessarily with the medicine, I like to evoke emotion or think of something that's going to bring emotion to me, because then that's when it feels like the door opens and where all of these things are illuminated and spilled out and flashed. And I love the idea of, it all makes sense when you have music that can really tug at your heartstrings and kind of help you access those points. So that's so beautiful.
Yes. And, it's also very interesting, the research that is available about sound, because when somebody enters on a high dose of psychedelics and there is no sound, it seems that the brain actually receives it way stronger, and it can actually be like a bit too much, a bit overwhelming. But when the same dose is given and then people are listening to music, there's like this buffer. There's like, okay, it can get very intense, but at the same time, the music helps to regulate. So, there is also, I think there is a balance, because not necessarily all the time has to be sound. I do most of the time sound, because I know it helps people who, in this time of humanity, we are a lot in our heads, thinking, and like all these processes seems to not nonstop. And I know the sound helps to focus that energy and to bring it into presence. But I also have experienced on some ceremonial containers with specifically indigenous people who, I think they're much more attuned to the feeling, and not necessarily all the time just thinking. But, they're very grounded and connected to their bodies and the land. And, so I've noticed that in ceremonies with some of these people, there's moments of silence, that it doesn't seem that there is a need to constantly be playing music or something.
Sure.
And also there's no silence, actually.
True.
Because these things are done in nature. So then there's the sound of nature. So you see, there's something interesting about the way that, we're using sound, specifically when is the idea of a psychedelic therapy session, in the clinical form, is done separated from nature, in a closed space, where, yes, if you don't have sound, it's either too silent, which doesn't happen in nature, unless it's winter,
where I am,
or the desert, but in the jungle, I mean, there's never silence,
right?
And I think there is something there to also play with, that is in ceremonial containers that are evidently not clinical. They're more in connection with nature. There's also more of that space of human silence.
Absolutely. It's been interesting. I've been working with people who, I think they're concerned about the presence of other people, so having to kind of be vulnerable or just not having space, and feel, it might be easier to kind of break open or have some cathartic release, not necessarily on their own, but just in contrast to, a full temple of people. But I believe also that it's the community and the energies coming together and all of the elements, the sound, and hopefully you're in a jungle next to the ocean with a full moon, that really just make it so impactful and kind of a whole nother level of a ceremony that you would be able to achieve in a closed room, more in a clinical setting. I wanted to bring up, when we were speaking in Costa Rica, you kind of spoke to the group about the idea of perception, and kind of when we're working with the medicine or going through a journey, the idea we can perceive things one way. I don't know. When you were speaking, it was life-changing to me. I'm trying, maybe you can kind of channel what this conversation, but it was really just, I found it really impactful because it spoke to, obviously, if we're struggling or there's memories that are coming up, we need to allow and acknowledge that this happened. But it's kind of like, we can perceive this to be bad, bad, bad. And your conversation helped me to just kind of put victim mentality to the top of my mind. And we know the medicine helps us to feel bigger than ourselves. So I'd love to see if you can kind of backtrack and have any conversation with me around this idea of perception and talking to people who might need to hear a little of your wisdom.
Well, this is definitely not my wisdom, because I'm just like, I've been studying different branches of knowledge, and I just I wave it together, but it's definitely not mine, and it's something that has been known for thousands of years. Right now we live in a very special time of humanity, because we have experienced this surge of communication, of transmission of knowledge. There's an abundance of this possibility to inquire about something and actually finding information about it. When I think about it, in the past, our ancestors, they needed to meet someone or look for a book. And me as a child, I grew up from, I don't have to go to the library, because now I can just find it on YouTube or Wikipedia, right? and now we have AI, right? It's just a whole other level to the game. And what I think it's very special, because now we have access to question something and receive the information and integrate this information. And it's coming from different sources. It's like all these different lines of wisdom are now merging together. And people, we are the ones who are this vessel to hold these waters of wisdom. So, it's for the ones who want to hear, the people who want to see, as the people who look to receive, the people who are open to receive these different lines of wisdom and integrate them, realizing that everything is speaking about the same thing. It's not separate. It's just different ways of expressing the same thing. And I found this absolutely interesting, because perception is the way that we look at things. And, I know it's a controversial person to talk about for some people, but I would really invite people to dive deeper in Osho, who is very well known. And if you don't know about Osho, if you're listening to this is just a very controversial historic character.
Osho.
Okay. Yeah. There's a Netflix documentary that there is a lot of things. There's a lot of information out there. But this is this is why I'm bringing him up. He would speak about these different channels, and how our perception, we've been, I will say more than thought, we've been like narrowed down to think in one way. But the technology of our brains, of our minds, is such a potent computer that it can run parallel thinking. So you can have all these different lines of thought or channels together, and some of them might not be as friendly to each other, I would say. There's degrees of tension, like you're having colors or you're having harmony. It's the same way that the mind can operate. So, I say we've been narrowed down because we've been told this is what God is. This is what life is about. This is how relationships should be. This is what you should work on. We are given an illusion of choice, but within this narrow range of what the human experience is about. And I think this is a deep topic to open up, space for inquiries around liberation and free will, and a lot of different situations.
Sure.
The thing is about perception is that we have the choice if we want to have this responsibility. And for me, healing, not only healing, but the act of, I say, update ourselves, self-actualization, knowing ourselves, knowing the divine expression that is flowing around us and in ourselves, this interconnectedness that we're talking about with the mycelium network, with the ecosystem that we are part of, Earth, that we are part of nature, that is not something separate. So it's this unified idea is at the same time allowing us in our minds to not only look at one thing in one way, but to exercise this capacity that we have, that I would say maybe subconsciously the system of education has been forcing to be only one channel. Right? This is when people get a very hard perspective on life. Things are only this way.
Right.
I am wrong. You are right. I am right. You are wrong. When the boundaries of these very narrow perceptions start dissolving, and this is what psychedelics do, right? The disactivation or reduce activity in the default mode network, right? The default mode network is the I know this is this way. In mushrooms, in classic psychedelics, what they do is that they allow more fluidness to contemplate that maybe this that is happening in my life can be seen from a different way, a different perspective. And I like to think about it because I'm like very into analogies and in like very visual ways. It's like glasses, right? And if we use glasses of a certain color, then the color that we perceive changes. But the color that we perceive changes the way that we feel about it. When we put glasses that make things more yellow, slightly more yellow, and then you go outside and everything looks like a bit more yellow, it's like this, happy vibes. When the glasses are, less light and maybe more blue, there, and outside is raining, and the perspective drastically changes the way that we feel and the way that we think. So having awareness that we can choose to put different glasses, different lenses, to look at something from a different angle is going to change the way that we perceive it. It's going to literally change the way that we are co-creating the meaning of reality. This is the tremendous power and responsibility. And this is why it's so much easier to just enter victim mode and say no, I am having these problems in my life because of somebody else. And that is something very difficult to realize because it requires a level of courage to take responsibility. It requires also a level of love to be able to enter acceptance, understanding, and compassion to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
That I am creating my own misery.
Mm-hmm.
I am creating my suffering.
Mm-hmm.
And this is happening because of lack of understanding, because of lack of awareness. There's nothing wrong in it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So like guilt needs to be taken away from it.
Mm-hmm.
We are not supposed to know everything. We are not supposed to immediately act in whatever the ideal of perfection or enlightenment is.
Mm-hmm.
But we are adaptive, and we are constantly learning and exercising these neuropathways, neuroplasticity, ways of perception.
Mm.
So, research now is coming in science, giving a really big hand to spirituality and wisdom, especially from Asia, like, tantric understanding, yogic understanding, Buddhist, all these different branches.
Mm-hmm.
And also the understandings of Gnosticism and, these mystical aspects of Christianism. There's a lot of these archetypical codes that have been woven to modulate the way that society and people are experiencing life and relating.
Wow.
So right now we have the ability to realize that the archetypical construct that has been implanted in our collective consciousness or collective subconsciousness
Mm-hmm.
can be changed.
Mm.
It's like AI becomes a reflection of ourselves, because now we realize that we are able to create something that we can communicate to,
Mm-hmm.
that has access to the collective mind.
Wow.
And to have access to the collective mind, it helps us to understand and look at ourselves in a deeper way, in a more detached way,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not just me.
Mm-hmm.
Is that we are experiencing this.
We
So
are. Mm-hmm.
we can influence by resonance. Of course, it is frequency, it is vibration, our minds, our brains. We are like a supercomputer that is always in this geometrical resonance, emitting vibrations to each other through the mind, through the way that we express ourselves. This is energy, right?
Mm.
We are an instrument. So realizing that we have the capacity to choose the glasses that we put on every day, and exercising this, like going to the gym. It's like how gratitude is rewiring our brains,
Mm-hmm.
and how absorbing certain type of understanding, certain knowledge that helps us to be more aware and mindful of our lives. I will say, and I like the idea of detaching from this, I would think is outdated software
Mm-hmm.
of the mind that says this is right and this is wrong. And I like the perspective of this is healthy and this is unhealthy.
Mm-hmm.
Because as a society, we're coming from all this trauma that has brought us to where we are right now in this level of interconnectedness through internet. Internet is a byproduct of globalization,
Right.
which is a product of colonization.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We cannot speak about psychedelics without speaking about these historic facts,
Mm-hmm.
because the way that the story is woven is so, it's just so perfect that I'm just in awe to look at it, because the very thing that is healing us and helping us to heal
Mm-hmm.
is helping us to heal because there is trauma.
Right.
So this is a very interesting line. And what I think is very interesting too is that the voices that are carrying the psychedelic knowledge forward at the eyes of the politicians, at the eyes of the public of this world, are the people who have suffered the most because of war.
Mm-hmm.
The veterans of war.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, I've met many of these guys and people who have the veteran organizations to help them heal with ayahuasca, with mushrooms, with bufo.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
wow.
so it's all so interconnected, and is it the perspective, right?
Yes,
we can use this and take advantage of our capacity to look at it to help the change.
Yeah, I love that line that you said, like, just to wake up knowing that you can hold the capacity to choose your perspective. So just moving on beyond, letting things identify you and being open to, taking that step back. And I love how, at least with my experience with psychedelics, the mushroom allows me to access shadows that aren't always so pretty and comfortable, but I always feel held and supported by the medicine. And I think that goes hand in hand with just trusting that the medicine is going to show you what you need to see, and trusting the process behind that along with yourself. Well, thank you for, you nailed it. That's what I was hoping for. This conversation has been so great and riveting, and I think we could go on and on. I feel like you should come back at some point, as you're constantly, I want to get into what you're offering to the people. Eber can be found simply by Googling his name. He does have a website, which is eberrodriguez.com. He's on Instagram and LinkedIn. So for the listeners, I'm going to note all of the ways to connect with him in the show description notes. But I just wanted to say, if you head to his website, he offers coaching and ceremonies and sound healings. Did you want to talk about anything? Do you have any ceremonies coming up in particular that you'll be leading that you want to make mention of?
Well, I'm always available for private journeys and small groups, and holding space here in Costa Rica, and can reach out to me. And also, I've been, as part of this connection to the medicine, and in tremendous gratitude for the process of not only healing but awakening to different aspects of myself and reality, and how we are shaping the path that we walk and that our children will walk in this earth. Then I've been doing this project of retribution to the wisdom keepers of the Colombian Amazon in the town of Sibundoy. Okay. This is a lineage that I appreciate for many reasons, and one of the main reasons is the humility and also the always being available to help people, no matter the economic resources. Because so this project of retribution I'm doing in the Amazon, we're doing journeys to visit the indigenous people, the indigenous community, get to meet the elders, get to meet some amazing human beings that are highly connected to their lands and their cultural wisdom that has been not interrupted, which is also very special.
Wow.
And who also, again, as I said, they're serving their medicines no matter the economic possibilities of people, which, I appreciate that. And so, I put my work, my time, my effort as a gift for these people. And we go twice a year. So if you're interested to go into the Amazon in a town, so, there's some level of comfort, and it's humble, but there's comfort, Wi-Fi and like all this. You can reach out to me. I'll be super grateful to connect. We're going in October 27th to November 2nd. And we'll be drinking 2 nights yahe, ayahuasca, with indigenous guides who also have a unbroken lineage of ancestral understanding, which I've been drinking with them, and every time I'm just in awe, because because I get to just witness a little bit and a little bit. And I realize that, what I offer, when I'm next to them, I feel like a baby.
Wow.
I'm like, oh my God. So yeah, I think there is this very special hidden jewels of wisdom that are just, they're not mainstream. They're not like a huge business that is like profiting a lot of money or anything like that, but they're actually intentionally in the preservation of their ways, which is also the preservation of how the medicine has been shared. So it doesn't become a really big business and so on. So, in a way, they actually don't like to be promoted. And so I'm doing something that, I don't know, it's a kind of contradictory. I am the one who's promoting what I am doing in retribution.
Yes.
And at the same time, I really take care of doing very small groups. And this is something very private. That way it doesn't become, we don't have any intention of making a business or making a big retreat or anything of those levels, because it does generate I would say a different quality of energy.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you sharing. And to me, I haven't sat with ayahuasca, but I do see it's such a profound medicine, and we want to pay reverence. And I feel like your container just sounds really special and amazing. So I'm honored that you brought it up, and I hope to be there. We were chatting off camera. It sounds like you've been putting some work into offering some online courses. I'd love to hear what you've been putting together, and let us know a little bit more.
Yeah. So, again, part of this work with these medicines, for me, it's been not just an aspect of, okay, how can I profit out of this? Because I think, this is our modern capitalistic mindset. And I think I'm not against money at all. I welcome it all. And at the same time, I recognize, because of my connection and my upbringing with these mushrooms, that they are from nature. That I would, go to nature and harvest my medicine for free. That I would have my journeys for free. A total, absolutely different type of setting. I mean, very natural, very organic. But I think on the accessibility of medicine. So this is the intention of the courses I'm developing, is to make things accessible. And now, thanks to the resources of internet and other digital platforms and AI and all these things are just making to gather and select, curate information in a way that satisfies all levels of, I would say, hunger to know. So I'm putting a microdosing course to help people understand all the things about microdosing, to do it themselves if they don't have the budget to hire someone to follow up the process. And I think it's going to be a great start for a lot of people who are struggling with anxiety specifically, and mild levels of depression. And yeah, it's going to be supportive for a lot of people. And then the other course I'm putting together, so these courses are going to be coming out, I think, at the end of the year, the microdosing. And then for next year, I'm doing a facilitation course, but it's going to be foundations of facilitation.
Oh, okay.
Right. Because there is only so much that can be learned by reading, by hearing, by talking. There's only so much that can be learned on facilitation, because the other main percentage of knowledge is a knowledge of the body, of the nervous system. And that one is developed through experience. So this is why I say foundations of facilitation, because it's just the ground of understanding to be able to grow the practice with connection with these medicines,
Mm-hmm.
with connection to people, to creating trust, to creating these therapeutic relationships, and to always keep on learning, and not just because somebody took a course of feels they have the knowledge, then they are entitled to immediately start serving medicine. I think that is something very dangerous, and people have to be cautious. I think there is a lot of personal experience that needs to be lived so that the body has the capacity to understand what somebody's going through and how to hold that, with that knowing of like, oh, I've been through, my body's been through. So because I've been through, my body knows, and I'm regulated and I'm calm because I know you're going through it. So I can help you from this place. Versus the place of like, I read about it, but I don't know what I don't know how it feels.
Yeah. No, so true. I was going to ask, just on that note, you said that you are constantly, having ceremony, or not constantly, but you you learn each time you work with medicine. Is there any particular rhyme or reason for yourself to sit with psilocybin, let's say a larger dose? Do you have like timings of the year? I know that you do 2 ceremonial Aya experiences for people, but I'd like to hear how Eber decides it's time, to sit with psilocybin, or maybe that's just a feeling or calling you receive as well.
Well, I do psilocybin frequently. I would say like at least once a month, on not like a very deep dive,
Okay.
but more like average potency, like golden teacher kind of mushroom, like a gram or a gram and a half. And I just do that on nature. I just take it. I have all the time and space. I'm well versed with the medicine, so I know how I can feel. I know what can happen. So then I go and I walk in nature, have a nice long walk, stop, observe, contemplate nature, receive my insights. And for me, I do that intentionally. It is not like a ceremony in a contained space, but I do receive very similar in terms of the insights I get, what I derive out of it. There's a lot of organization of my internal space and a lot of release that happens through my body when it moves. So, this is a type of experience that I recommend to people, especially, psychonauts who perhaps are experiencing this recreational use of not only mushrooms, but other psychedelics, that there is a tremendous potential of these medicines to regulate and to help improve the brain and the nervous system when it's consumed intentionally in nature. Right? Not just like on a party, which I'm not against too, or not just in a ceremony, which it can also become a very like hard perspective. Again, it's like we narrow ourselves to like, this is the only way. And I think specifically mushrooms, right? I would not say this with ayahuasca, but mushrooms, I think they are very loving and open and playful, and also at the same time deep and like loving, but with like showing the insight of like, this is happening, right? There's a reflection space. So there is a light playfulness, and also there's a seriousness. And I think mushrooms, they are from nature. They also can be done in nature. But then in ceremony, for me, I love to drink ayahuasca in ceremony. This is where I do my deep work, my healing, my study. And yeah, so I actually don't sit that often with just large doses of mushrooms.
Okay.
I prefer to go in deep with ayahuasca.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing. This has been, like I said, just really, I feel, informative, and I'm excited to hear more, and hopefully get a chance to work with you someday soon. I'm really, I am intrigued and excited about your offering. It sounds tremendous and really potent, and being, beyond the medicine. And so thank you so much. Is there any any last words that you'd like to leave with our listeners, to part with? Any last notions of wisdom? Anything?
I think if this was my last day on the earth, right? What I want to say to people is to follow your heart. Whatever it is that you're doing it because you love to do that. And I love to hear from, the indigenous elders that I'm connecting with. They say, today we're alive and tomorrow we don't know. And this life is only once. So reflecting on that love for ourselves. And, the power of perspective is tremendous. It's like, are we doing things because we've been taught to only do certain things or think in certain ways? There is a knowing in our hearts that we can tap into and act from that place.
I love that. That's beautiful and so simple too. So thank you. I appreciate your time, and we'll keep in touch. Have a beautiful rest of your day, Eber. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Maggie. It's been great to be here with you, and it's so nice to talk with you. I look forward to seeing you again and getting to deepen the conversations. There's so much to talk about.
There is. It's never ending, right?
Yeah.
So please come back. Thank you guys for tuning in today. I appreciate it, and we'll check you next time. Have a great day. Thanks, everyone. For more information, please visit mindsonmushrooms.com. Thank you for joining the journey.